Hi everyone, this is David Kent and I look forward to seeing you at the FSMTA convention June 25th through the 29th at the Orlando SeaWorld. I have a few tips here not only for you but also to pass on to your clients about seatbelt safety. In the meantime, watch the videos, enjoy, pass on the tips, and I look forward to seeing you at the FSMTA convention at the Orlando SeaWorld June 25th through the 29th. I look forward to seeing you soon. Hi everyone, it's David Kent with Kent Health Systems, and we're just going to take a few moments to talk about some of the tips that we can pass on to our patients for the many hours that they spend inside of their vehicles, how they can be safe, ergonomically set correctly, and take care of themselves between treatments. As you can see, anytime we're in a vehicle, it's important how we have the steering wheel set. For example, we want to make sure that we have a full 12 inches between our body and the steering wheel. Of course, we want to make sure that we're sitting properly on our ischial tuberosities, and we're going to take a look at that here in just a moment. Also, the position of the seat belt is very important, how it's positioned on our patients. As well as ourselves, whether we're just in a taxi cab moving from the airport somewhere, or we're crossing a parking lot from one end to another between stores, possibly just driving around town or driving across the country. At all times, it's very important that we are positioned correctly. These airbags open at a very fast rate. It's very important we don't have food in our mouth. We don't expect an accident to happen, but if we're eating food and that airbag opens and somebody hits us, it can be life-threatening. Also, our distance away is very important. If we're sitting up very close and that airbag opens, again, it's opening up at hundreds of miles an hour. And it's going to definitely cause some type of trauma, as well as the position of our hands. If you have your hand across the steering wheel, again, as we're doing different movements, we want to make sure that our hands aren't in a position where they can, again, be thrown to hit us, whereas otherwise the airbag can throw it out. So let's take a look at some of the position. First, we're going to start and talk about the seatbelt. Of course, we're positioned in a manner where we discussed we have a good distance between the steering wheel and our body. We want to make sure that our body is held in place properly. During a vehicle, this is really just one of the laws of physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And just like when you shoot if you're playing billiards and shooting a pool ball and it goes into another ball, that energy transfers from one ball into another and moves on. Same thing happens during a car accident. If we're still and then another vehicle comes and hits us from behind, that kinetic energy has been transferred into our vehicle and into our body. So the purpose of the seat belt is to keep our body in place, of course, protect us within this cage that the vehicle has created for us, and part of that is that our body's properly protected and properly harnessed in place. So we want to make sure that the seat belt is very low across the hip. We don't want it high. If it's high, I'm going to show you in a moment how that can go into the abdominal organ. So we want the seat belt low and we want it across the hip. We want to make sure that the shoulder harness is coming across the chest, it's actually coming across the clavicle, and it's holding us in place. Sometimes people will put the seat belt under their body. Now, what starts to happen, if you have the seat belt high and low, I'm going to show you basically, the body is just in a position where when there's trauma, you're going to automatically start to really spin. And then also, this belt's going to cut in very deep internally and in your organs. So that's why it's designed a certain way. It's designed to go across the chest, and we're going to take a look at that next. Also, we want to make sure that our arms have a slight bend, but if we were turning the wheel or moving the wheel, our arms, we still would always have contact with it. There again, crossing our, we want to make sure that we're using proper ergonomics whenever we're driving. And so let's move on. We're going to take a look at how the seat belt actually holds the axial skeleton, our bones, in place when we're driving. So as we can see here, the skeleton, the axial skeleton of the body, the bones are actually held in place with the seatbelt. If we have the seatbelt low, it's going to be coming across the innominate bones, or the bones that help to form the pelvis. And then we can also see that this harness is coming across the rib cage, right across the clavicle, and then that's helping to keep the whole torso in place. And when all that's positioned right, then there's just going to be very little movement of the head. Of course, the airbag can open. If we're in the right position, there's going to be minimal movement, and that's what's so important. There again, as we can see, if this is low, see how it's going to cut into the organs. Or if the lower belt is too high, there again we can see how it's going to go very deep. And we're going to take another look at another model, because I really want to make sure that you understand how important it is that we're positioned correctly at all times. So now that we have this model in place, it's going to be easy for you to realize how important it is, because actually what we have on this model, if I take it, actually I'm just going to unseat belt it a little bit so that we can take a look. So really the rib cage here, there we go. So the rib cage is actually protecting our lungs and our heart. Right here we have the diaphragm muscle, which is attaching along the ribs. And then here we can see the liver, we have the intestines here. Here we have the ascending, the transverse, and descending colon. So of course we don't want the seat belt if it's too high, if it's not down along by the innominate bones, coming across the rib cage, that seatbelt's going to cut into these internal organs. Thank you for joining me. I wish you good health, happiness. Pass on some of these tips to your patients, apply them yourself. Look forward to seeing you soon. Make sure you join us for our next video. We're going to take a look at the effect of having different things in your back pocket and how that has an effect on the spine when you're driving. I'm David Kent. Look forward to seeing you soon. It's going to take a moment to discuss the importance of our ergonomics, or the position of our body when we're driving in a car. Actually, anytime we're seated, whether we're at a desk, working at a computer, eating, enjoying friends, driving. But driving especially is what I really want to talk about here. So we just got done talking about seatbelt positions, and now I just want to talk about that when there are different things underneath our hips or in our back pocket. Some people use different types of containers that when that's underneath the pelvis like this, it starts to throw the body off. Now, sometimes we need to perform a procedure called a walletectomy. I actually had someone, this is their actual wallet. So this is about an inch thick. And just if we stop and look at the body, so our two innominate bones along with the sacrum form the pelvis. And that is designed to be a base or a structure for our spine. Now, if we take something like a wallet and we put it in our back pocket and put it underneath our ischial tuberosity, as you can see, we've started to create an angle in the spine. Now, there's something called the righting reflex. Just like if you touch something hot, there's a reflex that causes your hand to pull away. You step on something sharp and you'll lift your foot. Well, you start to get positioned off balance, and there's even a reflex that tries to get that corrected, the righting reflex. So as that gets implemented, basically the body's going to start to create different distortions to get the eyes level with the horizon. So it's very important that what I would recommend is that you actually take a wallet or anything you have in your back pocket and put it in the front pocket. It's going to allow the pelvis to sit on its base the way it's designed, and then it's going to help reduce the possibility of any type of back pain or any type of spasming in the future.